Hi there everyone, and welcome to the Window Seat ASMR. This is a channel that's going to be dedicated to bringing you aerial tours from some of the world's most famous cities. We're starting today here in Tokyo, and I really hope you enjoy this video. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit nervous. This video might be a little bit rambly as we kind of get to grips what we're doing with ASMR here. So we're going to start today's flight in the Sumida neighborhood of Tokyo. Sumida is basically a historical district with cultural attractions, and it's located in the eastern part of Tokyo, alongside the Sumida River. Our first point of interest here is going to be the Tokyo Skytree, so let's get this turned around so we can get a good view. So there's the Skytree there. I guess you can't really miss it. It's a broadcasting and observation tower, and it stands at 634 meters tall, making it the tallest tower and the second largest structure in the world. The tower serves as a broadcasting antenna for television and radio signals in the Tokyo area, and I guess you have to get all that information out to all those people. Apparently, its design is inspired by traditional Japanese architecture, and it features a sleek, modern aesthetic. So I guess that's kind of symbolizes Japan, the crossover between the old and the new. So we'll fly a little bit closer to the tower here. You can see at the top there, we've got some observation decks on various different floors, and they offer some really fantastic views of Tokyo and the surrounding area. If you're lucky on a clear day, you can see Fuji too. The tower also houses a variety of shops, restaurants, and entertainment facilities, and as you can imagine, it's really popular with tourists. Other things to see in Sumida maybe include Sumida Park, which is located along the Sumida River, and this offers scenic views of the Tokyo Skytree. It's also a really popular spot for cherry blossom viewing during the spring, or hanami for our Japanese viewers. I'd also like to say konnichiwa to you. If I pronounce any of these place names wrong today, I'd like to profusely apologize. I have been to Japan a couple of times, but I do not speak Japanese. So, let's head on to our next district. We'll fly over the Sumida River here and head towards Asakusa. Asakusa is a historical district renowned for its traditional atmosphere, historic landmarks, and its vibrant street life. Asakusa streets are dotted with traditional ryokan, which is like a Japanese hotel, izakaya, Japanese pubs where you can get some food and have some beers, and other restaurants serving local delicacies. The district is centered around Sensoji Temple, and we can see that down here. There's a pagoda there in the temple itself, and a long line of stalls and street vendors on something called Nakamise Tori. It's a shopping street with lots of traditional shops, foods, and it basically leads visitors to the main entrance of Sensoji down there. So we've also got a theme park down behind Sensoji, and that's called Hanayashiki, and that's Japan's oldest amusement park. So we'll turn the aircraft here and we'll get a slightly better view of that shopping street and the temple below. It's well worth a visit. I've been a couple of times and it still blows me away. The neighborhood of Asakusa also hosts several annual festivals, including the Sanja Matsuri in May, and that is one of Tokyo's largest and most lively festivals. It features traditional Japanese performances and processions of something called mikoshi, which I believe are portable shrines. So let's continue our flight today. And I think we'll head north here. We are flying in something called a Velocity Volocopter today. And if you're a Microsoft Flight Simulator simmer, you probably won't like it very much because it's a bit boring. It doesn't do very much, but I think for me, it's great. It stays steady and level, and it allows me to show you different places that I wouldn't be able to do in a helicopter, for example, because I'm so bad at flying. So, this bit of green space here is called Ueno Park, and it's one of Tokyo's oldest and most famous park. It covers an area of about 53 hectares or 131 acres. It's also renowned for its cherry blossom, which draw really big crowds during Hanami season in the spring. Within the park, I think there are actually over 1,000 cherry trees, and they create a really nice display of pink and white in March or April time. So Ueno is also home to several museums and cultural institutions, including the Tokyo National Museum, which is Japan's oldest and largest museum. It showcases a vast collection of Japanese art and artifacts. We've also got the Tokyo Metropolitan Art Museum down there, which features modern and contemporary art, and the National Museum of Science and Nature too. I think there's also a zoo in Ueno Park too, but I haven't been to it myself. So we'll continue along our trajectory here, and you can see down there a large body of water, and that's called Shinobatsu Pond. You can go boating there, and it's really famous for its lotuses too. It's quite pretty. As you can see, Tokyo actually has quite a lot of green space, which I think is really necessary for a city of its size with, 20 million people. It's kind of crazy. So we can get a good view of the sky tree there, which we were at earlier, and you can see just how dense the city is. There's so many people living in quite a small area, and yet it's so spread out too. So I believe we're flying pretty close to the Akihabara district here. Akihabara, some of you might know, it's known as Electric Town, and it is renowned as the home of otaku culture. It's famous for its electronic shops, its anime and manga stores, and there are so many video game arcades. It's very overwhelming. It's also a really big hub for electronic retailers, and it sells everything from computers and components to gadgets and your typical consumer electronics. I'd like to say that you can get absolutely anything in Akihabara. So let's continue here. You can see another big area of green space, which we'll come to in a second. That district with the skyscrapers over there, that's called Marunouchi. It's very clean, very modern, and it's also home to Tokyo's main station. I think you can get the JR Shinkansen there and go to other parts of Japan. So we'll just keep going here quite slowly and past Marunouchi. And as I said, we're coming up to this green space below. Now you can see here it's actually surrounded by a body of water. There's a moat there. And this is actually the Imperial Palace. And the Imperial Palace serves as the primary residence for the Emperor of Japan. It is situated on the former site of Edo Castle. Edo used to be the name for Tokyo, and the palace is surrounded by extensive grounds covering about 1.15 square kilometers. The palace complex includes multiple buildings. You can see gardens down there, and open spaces encompassed by massive stone walls and moats. entrance to the palace is the Nijubashi Bridge, which is a double-arched old stone bridge that spans the moat and leads to the inner grounds there. The palace itself isn't actually open to members of the public, except for special events and on guided tours, but you can explore the East Gardens. So now let's start to turn. We'll make our way towards Shinjuku. We look down to the left there. You get a view of Tokyo Tower in the distance. We'll come back to there a little bit later and view it a bit closer. And that white building is called the National Diet Building. And it's got absolutely nothing to do with food. It's essentially the Japanese government's main building where the lawmakers, kind of similar to what Congress is in the United States, where they meet to make laws and decisions for the country. It's where the discussions happen and the votes take place and where laws are passed. So let's keep going around here. We got another big area of green space. And we'll continue along towards Shinjuku. You can see again how densely populated the city is. I can't actually believe that this is possible. This sim, it still blows my mind that we can recreate cities to this extent at home on our computer. So that building with a green roof down there is called Asakusa Palace. It is the guest house for Japan, and it essentially serves as a venue for hosting state guests, including foreign dignitaries, heads of state, and other high-ranking officials when they're visiting Japan. It was originally built in 1909 as the Crown Prince's Palace, and it is built in a neoclassical architectural style. If we look over there in the distance, we can see what was Japan's national stadium. And I think this might actually be based on slightly older satellite images, as it was demolished and redeveloped for Tokyo 2020. So I'll just be quiet for a minute and let you lap up the sounds of these rotors here. So that other area of green space over there, that is Shinjuku Gyoen. It's a 144-acre park with lots of garden areas, grassy expanses where people can have picnics and hang out with their friends and family during the good weather, and a greenhouse too. Those skyscrapers in the distance, that is Shinjuku. And we'll slowly come around and fly alongside them shortly. If you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe. We would really, really appreciate it. If you have any comments, leave them in the comments below and we'll take on your feedback. As I said, this is the first video that I have made. It's a little bit overwhelming, but we'd love to hear your suggestions, anything that we can improve. And please let us know if there's any cities you'd like us to check out in future videos. So now we're flying over Shinjuku. And Shinjuku is quite a famous district. I think a lot of people who visit Tokyo will stay in Shinjuku, rather. It's a kind of bustling district known for its really vibrant atmosphere and towering skyscrapers. So it's a bit of a hub of activity. We've got busy streets filled with shops, restaurants, lots of entertainment venues. Kabukicho is very famous actually, and it's known for its colorful neon lights, kind of what you think about when you think of Japan after dark. It's actually a red light district, but you wouldn't really know it, I don't think, walking through it. Although maybe that's because I don't read or speak Japanese. So I'd really recommend it, though. It's a great place to take in the sights and the sounds. So we can see the rail line down there, and that is leading to Shinjuku Station. Shinjuku is one of the busiest train stations in the world, and it serves millions of commuters every single day. Anyone who's been to Shinjuku Station will be able to tell you that it is a difficult place to find your way out of. I have been lost in there for a good 30 to 40 minutes. I think that I'm following the signs, and I still don't end up out of there. So, yeah. So we can see here there's some really cool architecture there as well. And we'll just fly around and soak in the views. So as we come around here, look out for the iconic Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building, and that serves as the government building for the whole city of Tokyo. At the top, there are a couple of really cool observation decks, one in each tower, and you get a sweeping view of the whole of Tokyo and over the parks and the surrounding area. It was free when I last visited. I'm not sure if it still is, but it's really, really cool and really worth a visit. This is actually where I stayed the first time that I visited Japan. I stayed in a little neighborhood near the Metropolitan Building called Nishi Shinjuku, at a little hotel called Tokyo Stay. It was really cool. I was completely overwhelmed by it, obviously. It was my first time in Asia, but I fell in love with the place instantly, I think. So here we are coming around, and you can get a better view of the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building there. It is a single building, but it has two towers at the top. And it's at the top there that you can go to the observation deck and view Shinjuku and the rest of Tokyo. And in the distance there, you can actually see the Tokyo Skytree. So we've come a pretty large distance already. So we'll just fly around past these buildings, and we'll head back towards the river, back towards Tokyo Tower. But first, we're going to fly over this other area of green space. And this area is home to the Meiji Shrine. So the Meiji Shrine is a temple that's dedicated to the spirits of the Emperor Meiji and the Empress Shoken. And it's a revered symbol of Japan's rich cultural heritage. As you can see, it's covered in dense forest, and it's another welcome break from the hustle and bustle of the city around you. So for those of you who don't know about Japanese history, Emperor Meiji reigned over Japan from 1867 until 1912, and he played a really huge role in modernizing Japan. Under his rule, it underwent significant social, political, and economic reforms, and it was known as the Meiji Restoration. So we can get a bit of a glimpse of the shrine down there. The construction of the shrine actually began in 1915, and it was completed in 1920. And it's basically to celebrate Emperor Meiji's contributions to Japan's development and opening it up to the world. So this modern looking building down here is called the Yoyogi First Gymnasium, we also have Yoyogi Park down here, and it's near the Harajuku part of Tokyo. Harajuku is really famous for its fashion and its youth culture. The building there itself is just a modern stadium, and it hosts sporting events, indoor sporting events. Yoyogi's a lot of fun, especially at the weekends. You get people performing various different acts, and the fact that it's located so close to Harajuku is a big plus point. Harajuku is a lot of fun. I think most people have heard of Harajuku outside of Japan. But yeah, famous for its youth culture and that distinctly Japanese feel. So right now we're gonna fly down towards Shibuya, which is another really busy business district of Tokyo. It's famous for the Shibuya Crossing, and you'll definitely have seen it before. It's one of the world's busiest pedestrian intersections. And it's a bit of a spectacle of movement, to be honest. There's streams of people crossing the intersection from all sorts of different directions. I don't know how people don't end up knocking into one another, because it just seems like an endless sea of people all the time. I think some people actually call it the scramble crossing, because the traffic lights halt the vehicles in all directions and then everybody just goes for it. So we'll come around and we'll see if we can get a view of it here. I think we can actually see it below there. We'll just fly around. I think the buildings are covering it at the moment. And we're getting pretty close. And there it is down there. You can see the white lines on the street there, crossing diagonally and in all different directions, and that is the famous Shibuya Crossing. Around the crossing are big buildings adorned with colorful billboards and neon signs, and that just adds to the vibrant energy of the area. It's kind of like Tokyo's Times Square in a way. It's a really popular meeting point for people, and it captures the energy of the city really well. So that's a really good view of it there. And the light is so great here. Looking at that, would you really know that it's a game? If you looked at a still image, I'm not sure that you would. So let's keep flying here. And we're gonna fly west, back towards Tokyo Tower. Tokyo Tower is located in the Minato ward of Tokyo. But again, we'll just let you soak in the views, and we'll give you a little bit more information about it as we get a little bit closer. Other neighborhoods around here include Roppongi and Roppongi Hills. And I think that's quite famous for being a bit of an expat hub. There's a lot of iconic clubs, I think, located in Roppongi. And it feels slightly less Japanese, I think, compared to the rest of Tokyo. It's very westernized. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the stream and whether you like it or not. If there's anything that we can do to improve, anything that you'd like to see, we'd be really keen to hear it. really is an iconic landmark and maybe one of the most famous things associated with Tokyo. It sits at a height of about 332 meters, which is over 1,000 feet. It's one of the tallest structures in Tokyo, and it is a real symbol of the city's skyline. It's got a distinctive red or orange, I think that's debatable, color, and a white lattice structure, which really gleams in the sunlight. So the tower itself was actually built in 1958, and similar to the Sky Tree, the purpose of it was for broadcasting television and radio signals to the Tokyo area. You all can also go up there and find an observation deck at various different heights, and it offers some really good views. Although I would also recommend going to Roppongi Hills. There is a skyscraper over there. You can go to the top of that and get a view of the tower itself. For me, I prefer to get a view of the tower rather than from the tower because it's so iconic, and that's what I want to be looking at. The tower attracts millions of visitors every year, and we're going to try and get a little bit closer here and fly around it. Boy, that's a really nice view there. I might use that for the thumbnail. Look at that sunset. That's beautiful. So let's keep flying around and get some more views here. It's a shame that we can't see Fuji. I know when you fly some of the aircraft at higher altitudes, you can get a good view of it in the sim. But maybe that's something we can do in another video. Maybe we can make a bit of a Japan series here. Also, let me know what you think of the audio quality. We're using a Blue Yeti mic. And I have it set on stereo, but I'm not sure if that's the best setting or if this is the most enjoyable audio for people. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. So we'll fly past the tower here. Probably a lot closer than we'd be allowed to fly in real life. And we're gonna head out towards the river and the sea there, Bay of Tokyo. You can see a lot of land down here has been reclaimed and built on. Probably because Tokyo is such a densely populated place, they need all the land they can get. So in that sense, I think it's still nice that they've retained a lot of that green space in spite of the huge population, although I know it's slowing down right now and Japan is getting a lot older. So we're gonna fly out here over the Rainbow Bridge. And the Rainbow Bridge spans Tokyo Bay, and it connects the Shibuya Pier to a waterfront area called Odaiba. And from above, it looks stunning, particularly at night. At night, there are rainbow-colored lights on the bridge. I guess that's what gives it a name. And it was built in 1993. It serves as a vital transportation link between central Tokyo and Odaiba. And there are multiple floors to the bridge, so there's traffic and there's rail too. So we'll probably bring the aircraft around a little bit here to give you more of a view of the city with the bridge in the foreground. As I say, it can be really cool at nighttime. I think it's a little bit too early here. But maybe it's something we can do in a future video. There's the Sky Tree again in the distance. It's a pretty incredible view. So now we'll fly over to Odaiba. Odaiba I thought was really cool. It's an entertainment and shopping district. And it's a man-made island, obviously. But it has really cool futuristic architecture. It's got some waterfront promenades and a few iconic landmarks. There's actually a Statue of Liberty down there, which I thought was really weird. A replica of the Statue of Liberty. But I guess kind of cool as well. It's home to popular destinations like the Fuji TV building, Odaiba Seaside Park, and Pallet Town, which hosts attractions like that giant Ferris wheel there. And that's known as the Taikan Ransha. Now you can shop there at upscale malls, you can eat good food, overlooking the bay, and I think there's also a few waterfront parks and even beaches, but I've never been to one myself. Getting a little bit of lag there. This is the most demanding city in the sim, because there are so many buildings and it's so dense. So that's one of the malls down there, and there's actually a Gundam character outside, a big statue, but I don't think we can quite see it from up here. So yeah, that's essentially it for my tour of Tokyo. I hope you really enjoyed it. This seems like a really kind of good place to end it here. Thank you very much for watching if you made it to the end. We would really value your likes and subscriptions. We're trying to do this a bit more often, and thank you very much. If you're going to sleep, I hope you have a wonderful sleep and sleep well. And if you're going about your day, I hope you have a really good one. Thank you.